This is how you drill pilot holes in Fusion 360 for your screws so that you don't crash the bed when you're working. So this is Weiwei's project. Everybody can see?
Yes.
Weiwei's project uses 2 tools and 3 operations. The first is a 2D pocketing operation to remove the flat pieces of material for the parts of her material, which is actually double thick plywood. It's 2 sheets of 3/4 inch plywood that have been glued together. Once that's done, then they're all cut out. And this is done pretty aggressively in just 2 passes, but with smooth ramping. And the third thing is with a round end tool, these little ramps are milled. This is a total of about an hour. The issue that we're facing is that the material is going to be really hard to keep it flat on the machine because our plywood is very low quality, and it's going to want to bend, and we don't want to lose any pieces. And because it's so intricate and confusing, it's going to be hard to know where it's safe to put screws in the real world. So I'm going to go into Weiwei's part, and I'm going to make the stock oh no. Edit. The window's missing. There it is. Great. I'm going to make the stock a fixed size box instead of a relative size box. And I'm just going to make it 48 by 48. Yours is going to be 48 by 96. Just so that it's actually the size of the plywood. So we have a visual representation of every place we can put screws. In the X, I want to put it offset like 2 inches. Great. Just so that so that it's near the work is actually near the 0 point. Also, when you run the machine, it's nice to have the stock at 48 inches by 96 or 48 by 48 because then you can actually use the machine 0 as your 0, and you don't have to zero the XY. It saves a step, and it makes it so if the machine crashes, it's a little bit easier to get started again. So what we've done is we've made a fixed size box, 48 by, it'll be 96 by 48 for most of you, but since Weiwei's material has been cut in half and glued together, it's going to be 96 or 48 by 96, which is 4 feet by 4 feet.
48 by 48. Yes.
Did I say something else?
No, you said 48 by 96.
Jasper, this is going to be on the internet forever.
Oh, you're talking?
Yeah, it's so embarrassing.
Sorry, I don't know if you're ready.
All my followers. Okay, so you see all these red exclamation points. It's like toolpath out of date. It's just like anytime you change anything, you have to regenerate. You can click the folder, the setup folder, and then regenerate them all. And they should all be fine. You're going to have some warnings about ramps. I don't know what they mean. I wish I did. Now we're going to go back into the design environment. Unfortunately, there's no way to see the stock. So we're just going to have faith that our stock is in a reasonable place. I'm going to create a component because that's the rule. And I'm going to call it Rob's Screw Positions. And in this component, I'm going to put a sketch. I'm going to put that sketch on this plane. I'm going to click Capture Position because it's likely that the movements were intentional, but they weren't mine. Those are Weiwei's. And now I'm just going to use the Point tool under Create Point. And I'm going to click a bunch of times in every place that I want there to be a screw. So I want there to be a screw here. I want there to be a screw here. I'm going to turn off Snap to Grid because I think it's the worst thing. I don't understand why it even exists.
Rob, shouldn't we avoid putting them in the 4 corners? Because we'll originally have those to tap these holes.
The question was, in case it didn't come through on the microphone, should we avoid putting them on the 4 corners because there's going to be screws there anyway? We don't actually need the screws for drilling the holes because the router is going to just come straight down. We can just lay the plywood on the bed and it weighs enough that it's not going to move because the machine's only going up and down. But that's a good question. So I'm going to put one here, and maybe I'm going to put one, I'm going to be really conservative here just because these parts are really long. And I'm going to put them here. You can just it's kind of like a fun game to think about. I mean, it's fun for me. I don't know what other people do for fun. You don't want more than 20 screws, but I think that 9 is the definite minimum. Cool. Anybody nervous about this? Does this look good to people?
It looks nervous.
It looks nervous. Because of the eyes, or because it's... I'm going to add 2 more. Because the screws are cheap, and we're using them. Then click Finish Sketch. And now we have all these points. And it doesn't actually matter where they are in terms of height, because we're going to, if we go back into Manufacture, then click Drill. And you go to Geometry, and the default is Selected Faces. We're going to instead do Selected Points. And I think we can actually just draw a box around the whole thing. No, we can't. That would be cool. Because there's not that many points available. Why won't it let me click them? Maybe I need a bit first? Okay, I'm going to load the bit. So I don't want to deal with the samples because they're really confusing. So instead I downloaded, did I do that on screen?
No.
Oh, great. So let's do that. Google Pure 9 CNC data. And the first result after the ad that you might see is an instructable with these really gorgeous tools. These tools are set by heat. You heat up the collet until it expands, and you drop the bit in, and then it cools and shrinks around the bit. Isn't that rad? That's why they have the color from being put in a furnace. Also, it's nice because then the shop staff knows when people break tools because they can't replace them themselves. So then you're going to click Download Pure 9 CNC Data, and that's going to bring up a Dropbox folder. You're going to go ahead and click Tool Libraries, and then Shopbot, and then Softwood Lib April 2019, and then Download, Direct Download. The .tools file, you're going to go back into Fusion 360. You're going to right-click on Local and click Import Tool Library. Then you're going to find it in Downloads. And this is all of the tools the Pure 9 Shopbot has. I know, it's obnoxious. And we're just going to select the 1/8" drill bit. And the reason why I went through all that trouble is so we don't have to think about feeds and speeds. It just comes with them. Now can I select points? I'm going to... What's going on? Select... There we go. This is very frustrating. I'm going to click Cancel. What was your question?
I was going to ask if your speed rate's also 20. It is.
What's going on? Why can't I select these points? Manufacture, design. Drill. Points. It's definitely possible. I think my Fusion is just totally broken. I was having trouble selecting something else earlier today.
Can you select it from the sketch they were in?
Yes, don't let me click anything. I'm going to try when it's not full screen. Does anybody else having trouble selecting points?
Yes.
This literally worked for me 30 seconds ago on Clinton's computer. I mean, 20 minutes ago. Okay, pretend that worked and we clicked all the points and it was wonderful. For heights, this is really important because like normally it gets the information about the heights from the hole that you clicked. But we don't have holes, we just have points, and points don't have heights. So for the top height isn't going to be the whole top because it doesn't exist. It's going to be the stock top and the model top. For our project, what's the difference between the stock top and the model top?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Unless you stacking things.
Yeah, or it's possible they're different, but let's do stock just because it's, I don't know, seems safer. Normally I would say drill tip through bottom because all drill bits have conical faces. This keeps the drill bit from wandering, and normally you want it to do the thing on the right, not the thing on the left. But the screw will be able to do that for us. We don't need to go all the way through. And we don't need to go extra deep because the screw will break through no problem. The rest of this is fine. If you were drilling in fancy wood or hardwood, actually no, in this case we should do this. For everyone else who's doing single thick plywood, drilling wrap it out is fine. But for people, since we'd break a bit if we tried this because the flutes on the drill bit would clog with dust, and we'd end up leaving the bit in the wood. So we're going to do deep drilling fully retract, where instead of taking the bit, plunging to the bottom of the material and then leaving. Thank you. Ugh. Deep drilling full retract. You can set a depth, and it will go to that depth, and then it will pull out. Minimum packing depth reduction. I really want to select some points here. It's not letting me click anything, literally anything. I'm going to unplug the monitor.